All right, we'll go ahead and get started here. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our RTAP bi-monthly webinar series. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Kara, for those of you who don't know me, and I am the Kansas RTAP Director. If you will, please go ahead and drop your names in the chat into the chat box so we can all get acquainted and kind of see where everyone's from. And in the meantime, I'm just going to go over a couple of housekeeping rules before we introduce today's speaker. So just so you are aware, this webinar is being recorded and it will be posted on our YouTube channel. We do have our new webinar webpage located on our website, so you can easily access all of our webinars that we've done so far in 2026. And this one will be posted there later today. Please remember to keep yourself muted unless you are directly engaging in the webinar conversation. And let's see here. For today's webinar, we're going to be hearing from Technical Trooper Wes Gilmore. So Trooper Wes serves as the Public Resource Officer for the Kansas Highway Patrol Troop F. He has been a member of the Kansas Highway Patrol since 2019, and he was appointed the Public Resource Officer position in February of 2026. So I know he's got a lot of good content for us today, so I'm going to go ahead and let him take over here, and we'll get started.
Alrighty, good morning, everyone. So via correspondence with emails, I understand that you guys aren't school bus drivers, or you're wanting some sort of active shooter training, whether it was the KASM program that the Highway Patrol provides, or any form of active shooter style training for transit buses. So we don't have anything like that, but we do have one that a Trooper Tony down in Southwest Kansas has made. It's school bus safety, active weapon and shooting events. We used to always say that it's always active shooter this, active shooter. But what we found is, yeah, there's active shooters, but there's also other forms of violence, especially when it comes to younger kids or even the general public. So we're going to discuss shootings on school buses today, drop-off locations and that type of stuff. But anytime I say school bus or anything like that, just assume that it's going to be non-school bus. So it can be public transportation, school bus, taxi type services. Pretty much anything involving a vehicle, this can pertain to it. So we're going to get started off here. Like Kara said, I'm Trooper Wes with the Highway Patrol. I've been on since 2019, and I took over this spot back in February. So we'll get started here. School bus safety, active weapon, and shooting events. Just confirming, can everyone see that? I know there's a way to like give a thumbs up or something if you can see the PowerPoint that I'm also presenting here. Okay, we got one. Can anyone else see the slideshow here? Dominic says he can see it. Perfect. It looks like we're starting to get some answers rolling in here that people can see this. So we'll start here. All right, so today we're going to discuss, like I said earlier, weapon observed on a school bus or any sort of transient bus or any mode of transportation, armed person on the bus, armed person seen outside of the bus, or if you hear gunfire, transportation department procedures, person shooting at or on a school bus or any bus, school shooting at a school during drop-off or pickup, or if you guys are dropping off or picking up at your local grocery store, if you're picking up people from there, or any form of community event, what you should do from there. If you guys do have any questions, please ask. You can either raise your hand on this on the screen, or you can type a comment. I'll try to peek over there and see if I see anything throughout the presentation for you. All right, that's me. I'm Technical Trooper Wes Gilmore. Email office number, cell phone. If you guys need anything, you can snap a photo of that. Reach out anytime. I know it seems like you guys are from all over the state. You're welcome to reach out to me. I'm out of the Wichita area. If I can't help you, we've got troopers throughout the state that should be able to help you out. Okay. All right. So I'm going to show you a photo here real quick, and we're going to do a little training. So just look at this woman here on the screen real quick. And now she's gone. All right. So introduction. The standard school bus holds 60 to 70 students, depending on your guys' transient buses, whether it's a big bus or a smaller bus, or if it's just vehicles. But typical school bus is 60 to 70 students. Like any vehicles, there's limited exit points, especially on a school bus. You have the back door and some emergency windows to get out, and then the front door. They're very confined and narrow. It's hard for us as officers to determine where the threat is at, and it's hard for you guys as the drivers to determine which person on that bus is being the issue. Hard to see over, especially the tall back chairs. Vulnerable transition times, and approximately 480,000 buses transport 25 to 26 million students each day in the United States. Again, that's just school buses. I'm sure transit buses are a lot as well. I don't know if they'd be as much, but I'm sure it's also extremely high. So what causes people to do stuff like this on school buses, transient buses, anything? Behavior and individual factors. There's anger, stress, bullying, and substance abuse. The substance abuse, I feel like, would relate more to you guys in the transit field with like City of Wichita school buses, or Topeka or Kansas City public buses. Environmental and situational triggers. So overcrowding, lack of supervision, poor security and lighting. I'm sure like school buses, your guys' buses don't have cameras on every single one of them. If they do, great. We like that. But overcrowding and lack of supervision, even adults need supervision, in my opinion. But you have one person that's operating that bus, and then you have, let's just say, 50 people on board. You might have two people that are getting into an argument, and most of your general public is not going to step in and try to stop that. So it's up to the bus driver to take control of the situation. There's always social and community factors. Is anyone up in the Kansas City area right now dealing with FIFA or Topeka, taking people back and forth? I'm sure that can cause issues. You have people from different countries with different social norms that are trying to take the public transportation, and some people might not appreciate the overcrowding and a ton of extra people in their cities. So that can always add issues. Community violence leaks into the public schools, peer groups, gangs, lack of respect for others and authority. Whether you want to think it or not, I'm sure your local transit buses in Topeka, Kansas City, Lawrence, wherever you guys are at, I guarantee you guys have people that are involved in gangs, taking those to and from work, if they do work, if not, just to get to one side of town to the other. Systemic and policy related causes. Inconsistent discipline between events, inadequate training, knowledge of potential violence, limited resources for staffing and surveillance. Like I said earlier, there's one person on that bus. It might be, a 50, 60, 70-year-old person driving that bus, and you have two 20-year-old kids or 16-year-old kids fighting in the back. It's going to be harder for one single driver to take control of that situation. All right, so safety isn't just part of your job, it is your job. It's a little bit different in my opinion, for school bus drivers compared to you guys driving transient buses. But you're still getting paid to take those people from point A to point B safely, and you have to do whatever you can to get them from point A to point B safely. So, all right, so let's say you have a weapon observed on a bus, but it's not being used. So you see somebody, and here in Kansas, it's an open carry state, so they're allowed to have a firearm on their hip exposed. But let's say you see it. Is that, for you guys, if it's an adult, illegal? No. But should you take note of that? Should you be going, all right, that guy has a gun. Hopefully he's a good guy, but I should at least pay attention to him. And then if something does happen and it's not involving him, you can always go to him and say, hey, I need help. It looks like you have a gun. So first, we always recommend pull over to a safe area. Consider evacuating the bus. Belongings should be left on the bus. We're not trying to grab our purses and our backpacks and our wallets or anything like that. Leave it on the bus and just get out. And then if you see a knife or something and it's not being used, everyone in Kansas seems like has a knife. It's not a big deal, but again, just take note of it. So call the transportation office and advise them of the incident. So if there is something that's happening, whether it's a fight, but there's no weapon being used, or somebody says, hey, stop doing that, I've got a gun, we need to immediately call, in my opinion, call 911 immediately, and then call your transportation office. I don't know if you guys have like the CB style radios in any of your buses or vehicles, but if you do, call 911 and then let your coordinator, dispatch, whomever it is you're speaking with over that CB, let them know what's going on. That way they can also be making those phone calls. So verify if there is a weapon, if it is safe to do so, or just wait until law enforcement arrives. So if you hear somebody say, I've got a gun, and then you pull over and everyone evacuates, you as the driver, you're not required to, but you can walk the school bus or the transportation bus and just make sure that there's nothing there. If you want to get off with everyone else, get off with everyone else. That's our job. We're happy to get on there and see if there's anything we need to remove from that bus. All right, do not touch it if you do find something. Most people have a good understanding of how a firearm works in the state of Kansas. However, we don't want to accidentally discharge that weapon. A lot of weapons that criminals use are not up to perfect standards. They modify them, change them, so we don't want to touch it. And then also, if there's any fingerprints on it, we don't want to destroy any of that evidence. Move people or students away from the weapon, and then ask them to evacuate the bus. This is the hardest part. Try to remain calm. If you are not calm, the people on your bus are not calm. Here in law enforcement, we always say if we're calm, everyone else is calm, or we try to make it that way. So you're kind of the police of the bus. It's your bus. It's your building. If you work in an office, it's your building. If you aren't calm, your coworkers and people with you are not going to be calm. Cooperate with law enforcement and providing them any additional requested information. So you guys go throughout all of your cities. If you're at a stationary location, if you are part of like the dispatcher, if you're part of the office team that helps with this type of stuff, you obviously know your address, but your drivers probably aren't going to know what 100 block they're in. They're not going to know what milepost they are on a highway. So we always recommend just try to find a geographical location. If you say like here in Wichita, if you say that you're by Wichita State University, just say I'm on the west side of Wichita State University. We'll have plenty of law enforcement circulating the area and we'll be able to find you pretty quickly. Road signs are great, but where I'm from, rural Kansas, I mean, it might be a mile, if not 2 miles before you even have a road sign. So just try to give a geographical location. Even if that's, hey, I'm 5 miles east of the Kansas Turnpike on U-160 highway. You don't know the milepost, you don't know the exact location, but you can give a general area. That's what we're looking for. All right, so now we're going to jump from not being armed to a person has a weapon and they're using it on the bus. Notify transportation radio dispatcher. Call 911 first. If you have your cell phone with you, give as much detail as you can. When you're done with that, then you can tell your dispatch what's going on. We don't want people telling their dispatch and then it just creates a chain effect where you get a hold of your dispatch, then your dispatch has to call 911. We want that direct contact between the driver and 911. Provide as much information as possible regarding your situation. Description of the intruder. A lot of people don't give great descriptions because they're panicked. So this jumps back to the remain calm part. Look in the mirror, turn around if you need to when you pull over. If it's a white male, say it's a white male that's roughly 6 foot or whatever it is. If it's a black male, a black female, a white female, Hispanic, give the best description you can. Clothing description. What color's the shirt? What color's the pants? Do they have a hat on? Are they wearing glasses? Do they have a backpack? Anything like that helps us tremendously, because a lot of the time any event like this happens, whether it's on a bus or just in a public area, that person's typically going to run after they've done what they want to do, and then we're attempting to locate that person after they've ran. So what type of weapon? Is it a handgun? Is it a rifle? Is it a knife? Just be descriptive, because if we find a black handgun 2 blocks from there and it's on the ground, we can link that back um, to that incident. But if you say it's a handgun and we find a rifle that's 3 foot long, it's going to be a lot harder for law enforcement to try to tie that back to the crime. All right, and then hostage situation. That's going to change our response for stuff like this. If it is a hostage type situation, we've got a video here towards the end we'll show you. But if it is that, you need to let them know. Say, hey, it looks like he's doing this to this person. He's not letting them go. Everyone else has gotten off the bus, but this guy's or girl has kept this one person. So, all right, armed person seen outside of the bus, or if you hear gunfire. Any of you guys from Topeka or Kansas City? I think I saw somebody said Topeka, yeah. Or Wichita. Any big city, anywhere in the country, you're going to hear gunfire at some time. If it sounds super close to the bus and you're pulling up to a bus stop, I don't know what you guys' policy is. That's up to each individual agency. But if I were driving that bus and I heard gunfire outside of there, I would not stop for anyone and I would keep going, because you're responsible for the people on that bus. So if you're trying to pick up 2 people, but you have 50 people on your bus, it sounds bad, but this is just how we have to train. You would rather protect the 50 on your bus rather than stopping and trying to save the 2 that are outside and then possibly getting more people on that bus injured. So if you hear something, just keep going. It's not worth stopping. So, yep, drive away from the armed person or gunfire if it's safe to do so, or stop and take cover. If it sounds like it's in front of you, way in front of you, buses are hard to turn around. Back up, get out of there if you need to. Pull into a park or something, get away from it. I'm going to say the opposite. I'm going to say call 911 first, and then let your transportation dispatch know. Tell students to get on the floor, or anyone on your bus, say get down on the floor. It's harder for people to shoot people if they can't see them. So stay away. It's like tornadoes. Stay away from the windows, stay away from doors, get as low as possible, and stay down. Most people don't want to waste their ammunition. If they can't see somebody, they're not just going to fire blindly into a bus. So if they can't see you, they're not going to mess with you typically. So is there an armed person or gunfire heard in the vicinity of the bus? Lock the bus door, notify transportation where you are and where you've stopped. And for the transportation department, call 911. Even though your driver should have already called 911, you should call them again just to give additional information. That bus driver is going to be in more stress than you as the dispatcher are, or somebody that's working at the office. If your bus has GPS on them, I know a lot of newer buses do, or they have like some sort of phone on it, or GPS monitoring system. You're able to give the exact location. Let 911 know exactly where that bus is at, how many people you think are potentially on board, and then your driver's information. So this again relates to schools, but if you call into your transportation dispatch or whomever you keep in contact with, they'll obviously let the boss of the company or the director of the company know. Follow the procedures and the crisis prevention and response plan. I don't know if your guys's agencies or companies or anything have a response plan. It's a good idea to have one just in case something does happen. You know what to do, who to contact, and all that information. Safe places to go. All right, so person shooting at or on the school bus. There are 3 options. You can run, hide, or fight. It's the same thing we preach when we're doing our KASM, Kansas Active Shooter Mitigation. Those are your three options, and unfortunately, those are pretty much the only three options. So if you're able to, we recommend get out of there as fast as possible. If the bus cannot drive away from the danger, evacuate as many students or people as possible from the bus and direct them to move in a position out of sight of the bus. Use objects for cover or run in a zigzag manner if it is an open area without cover. Clear the area of as many students or others as safely possible. Have an escape route and plan in mind for the entire bus route. So for the drivers, you can't run, but you can drive that bus away. So for law enforcement, we always, if you pay attention next time you're driving around, you see a cop. If you see a cop at a red light, they're going to have a ton of distance between them and the car in front of them because we're always thinking of an escape route. If we get ambushed or something, we want to be able to drive out of there and safely get away. So maybe talk to your driver, say, hey, if something were to happen at a red light or you're, parked somewhere, always be thinking of how you're able to get out of that area. We want to be able to get away. We don't care if you drive in people's yards. We don't care if you drive over curbs. Do whatever you can to get out of that scenario. Again, leave belongings behind. If you have somebody that's trying to grab a bag and they're blocking everyone, tell them to leave it and get out. Items can be replaced. I don't know. I'm sure you guys do have handicap accessible buses or vehicles. Help others if you're able to. Help them get out. Do not attempt to move the wounded. This one always, I don't want to say it upsets people, but it makes people think. So for law enforcement, we're trained when we go into an active shooter situation, even if there's somebody in front of us and they've been hurt, we have to go past them. We have to stop the threat and just move past all the wounded. So what we're training people to do as well is if there is an active threat, it's hard to do, especially because I think the Midwest are super nice people and super friendly. But if there's an active threat, you have to only think about yourself. You got to get out of that scenario. Once once law enforcement and EMS arrive, they'll tend to the wounded. But if you try to help somebody that got hurt, now you're just the next target because you're not moving, you're not getting out of there, you're making it easy for the person that's trying to harm others. So it's hard. It's a hard mental hurdle to get over, but it's something you got to think about. And if you don't think about it and tell yourself you're willing to do it and able to do it, you're going to find yourself being Midwest nice and trying to help somebody, and then you're going to end up being another victim. Prevent others from entering the area where an active shooter may be. So if it's on a bus, shut the doors if you can't run. For the office workers that are part of the transient system, but they're in an office, shut as many doors as you can. Do a lockdown if you have intercom systems. Let the building know, hey, we have an active shooter. We don't like people or businesses using code words like we have a code black or code red. Nothing. Plain English is what we want. The active shooter, when they enter, they know that they're the active shooter and people are going to know what's going on. So we want plain English when you tell people. Don't yell, there's a guy with a gun. Just say, there's an active shooter here. There's a killer. There's somebody here to hurt us. We need to get out. So keep your hands visible if law enforcement is present. Again, we're showing up to these events and we have no idea who the bad person is. Even if your driver says it's a white male that's roughly 6 foot that's wearing a blue shirt, there might be 5 people that match that description. Also, information being relayed from the driver to dispatch to law enforcement, or the driver to the dispatcher for the company, then to 911. There might be a difference in exactly what's communicated. So we want to be able to see your hands, know that you're not the threat. For anyone on the bus, you're also encouraged to call 911 as well. All right. Second option is to hide. It's very hard to do on a bus, but kind of briefed over it earlier. Hide or take cover on the bus. Hide in an area out of the shooter's way, so you don't want to be seen. You want to get down low. Students may use objects for cover, or if people on your bus have a backpack or skateboards or whatever, use that as cover. Cell phone should be placed on silent and or off or vibrate only. Um, if you can't be seen, you don't want to be heard. So that's why we tell you to shut those things off. If they can't see you, they're not going to go to that general area. They're just going to wait until they hear something or see something. So turn that phone off. All right. Third one is fight as a last resort, and only when lives are in immediate danger, attempt to incapacitate the shooter. Again, it's very hard on confined areas like a bus because you have one very narrow um, walk path, and getting over seats is going to be hard. But try to incapacitate the shooter. Bus drivers can use driving tactics to disable the shooter. So if there's somebody on your bus and they are trying to hurt others, swerve, yank that steering wheel back and forth. If you need to, slam on the brakes, hit the emergency brake. Um, in worst case, if it's really bad, put that bus into something, drive into something. That will throw the shooter off of balance, or somebody with a knife, and then hopefully the other occupants will be able to take control of the situation. So this is also hard. This is something that we try to tell the drivers. You have to be in this mental headspace to do this type of stuff. So you have to run scenarios through your head all the time. Act with as much physical aggression as possible. Most people are not physically aggressive. They try to stay away from uh, physical conflict, which I don't blame them. Uh, but when you're in control of that bus, you're responsible for everyone in it. So sometimes you're going to have to take physical aggression. You're going to have to possibly hit people. We'll see a video here in a second. This is from a school bus driver. She was being assaulted, and she was trying to hold on to the girl, but she wasn't fighting back. But at the same time, she was probably thinking, this is a young girl. I don't want to hit this young girl, but she's also being attacked. So sometimes you have to go outside of that mental headspace that you are comfortable in. Improvise weapons and throw items at the shooter. I don't know if your guys do, but school buses have fire extinguishers, first aid kits, pretty much anything you can think of that's big and hard. Use that as a weapon. Cell phones, you can throw a cell phone. Um, I'm a big fan of water bottles like this, big metal ones. They've got this nice handle on top. You can use it to hit people. You can use it for about anything. All right, so let's say you're at a school drop off, or you're at a public transportation spot where people are getting on or off the bus. So let's say somebody's shooting in that general area. If you're not at school yet, do not go. If you hear or your dispatch tells you, hey, there's large law enforcement presence right near your next pickup or drop off spot, bypass it. Bypass it. It's not worth getting people on that bus hurt. Notify your transportation where you are, where you're taking the kids or the people of the bus, and then also notify 911. Attempt to calm and reassure the children or the people that they're safe. If you show up to your next bus stop and there's a large law enforcement presence, just tell the people, hey, this isn't a safe space to be right now. We're going to take you guys up a few blocks, drop you off there, or hey, we're going to go to the next bus stop and I can't drop you guys off here because it doesn't seem to be safe. If you're actively there and you're picking people up, you might have to shut the door even if there's more people. If you're starting to get shot at or somebody's outside of that bus fighting, again, you're going to need to protect the people that are already on that bus. It goes back to you got to step over the people that are wounded. Sometimes you have to leave people behind to protect more. So if you're protecting 20 people and there's 2 people off that bus that are trying to get on but they can't, I hate to say it, but it's best to protect the 20. Follow instructions for armed person or gunshots heard. Choose from run, hide, fight, depending on the circumstances. If you're at the school or bus stop and you have unloaded or are not or are in the process of unloading, follow instructions. Get out of there if you can. Get as many people on that bus if you can. If it's not directly by you, even if these people aren't wanting to get on the bus, but there's not a direct threat right outside of your bus, yell at them, say, get on the bus. I'll get you guys out of here if you need to. And then again, choose from run, hide, fight. Consider allowing students or people to enter the bus and take cover, even if, well, let me go back, sorry, from the shooter if it's safe to do so. So that's what I was saying. Just even if they're not wanting to get on that bus because they're not normally on that bus, say, hey, jump on. I'll take you wherever you need to. We'll kind of flip through this because this is, again, just all school related. All right, so post incident expectations. Again, obviously let 911 know, hey, I'm not hearing the threat anymore. Or, hey, the threat's subdued. Location, if you know where the active shooter went, if they ran east, north, south, or west, wherever, or, hey, we've got 2 people on the back of the bus that are holding them down. We need to know where they're at. If it's multiple people that are in a fight, we need to know how many people are there, where they're at, what type of weapons they're using, what their physical description is, and how many victims there are. So rather than sending 1 or 2 ambulances, if we have 8 people that are hurt, we're going to be sending ambulances from all over the place. All right, so what to expect after the first officers to arrive on scene will not stop to help the injured, except rescue team to follow initial response of the officers. So once we clear it, we neutralize the threat or the threat's gone, then we will start with getting the injured to a safe area. Once you have reached a safe location, you will likely be held in that area by law enforcement until the situation is under control and all witnesses have been identified and questioned. If something like this is to happen in your guys' area, you're going to be there for a while. So for your guys' companies, if you have a bus that's involved in something, you might have to call somebody that's not working and say, hey, I need you to come in, jump in this bus, and we need to finish our route. But the people that are on that bus are going to be stuck there. So if you need to finish your bus route, have a plan in action to where if something does happen, you can get another driver there to finish the route or do whatever else they need to. And again, do not leave the area. It makes it extremely hard. It's the same as if you crash your car. If you leave, it makes it way harder on us to try to locate you, try to interview you. We want to we want to interview you as soon as possible. See what you will hear what you saw, and any descriptions or anything like that. All right. So when we arrive, remain calm. Drop any items in your hands. So if you were using a fire extinguisher to try to subdue the person, drop that because, again, it was a weapon to hurt that person. We don't want it to be a weapon on us. Raise your hands, spread your fingers. That way we can see everything. Knives are extremely small. So that's why we say spread your fingers. We want to see absolutely everything. We don't want you to be like this because you can have something behind your hand that you're concealing. Avoid quick movements towards police officers and avoid pointing, screaming, or yelling. Chaos causes chaos. So if you're on the front of the bus and you're screaming, he's back there, he's back there, we'd rather you just point and say back there because there's going to be a lot of screaming and we're going to look for the calm person that's thinking clearly. Don't ask questions when you're being evacuated. Just get out of there. Get out of there, find a cop, find somebody, go sit wherever it's safe to do so. All right, so things to think about when during the incident, uh, like where are you, location, what are your best exits, kind of what I was talking about earlier. You always want to have a course of action to get out of the area. The best case scenario is to avoid these situations. All right, so when we show up, again, this is directed for school buses, but when we show up, nobody's tall enough to actually see into the windows. So this is one of our troopers that made this. This is him walking along the school bus. We can't see inside. We're going to see people possibly standing up, but it's going to be hard for us to see. This is him holding the camera above his head. And even then, I mean, you got to be at least 6'6" to see in a bus like that. And even then, it's extremely hard to see. So there could be people hiding behind any of these seats. That's why when we get on the bus, if the driver is able to say he's in the back and say it clearly to where we can actually understand what you're saying, we know that the threat's not going to be in the first couple seats. We're able to move quicker. Skip through these so we don't run out of time on you. All right, so here's one of the videos I was talking about earlier.
Mom, you need to get off. You need to get off the bus.
Tense moments inside a Jeffco school bus Monday left a driver injured and a student facing charges. Video of the incident obtained by 9 News shows the driver tried to kick the student and her boyfriend off the bus at Arvada High School after they were being verbally abusive.
You want me to be Don't ever. Now stop. Stop touching me. Get off. Get off. Get off.
You see the driver assaulted on her own bus.
Can you call 911, please?
Are you okay?
No, no. Come on, what's going on? One of the students just assaulted me. I'm at Arvada High.
Trevor Byrne is vice president of the Jeffco Education Support Professionals Association, or JESPA. He's also a bus driver himself.
Extremely frustrating.
So on that one, that was the one I was telling you about earlier, that driver did what she could to defend herself, to protect herself, but she didn't punch or push or do anything to that other woman. Well, I say woman, it was a 16-year-old girl, I think they said. So if you need to, you're justified. If you're getting beat up, you can protect yourself and stop that threat as well. But what's great about that video is as soon as that was over and the threat was gone, she said, somebody call 911. She didn't, but she told somebody to. So that's great. So we got another one here. We probably won't watch all this one just due to time constraints.
People not paying attention. They come into the work zone. I've had a semi get.
Newly released video and 911 calls of a harrowing ordeal.
So this would be
on board
part of
a
like the
school
hostage
bus.
type
A man
thing.
with a knife allegedly hijacking the vehicle packed with children, leading police in Arkansas on a 20-minute chase last month. Kids and driver safely rescued. ABC's Gio Benitez has the story.
Watch the dramatic, newly released video captured on police dash cam. Kids escaping a school bus, allegedly hijacked by a knife-wielding man. Just minutes earlier, a frantic woman had dialed 911.
He got on the school bus with a knife with the bus driver, and they're driving down North Martin Street.
Police chased that bus with 11 elementary school children on board. The driver describing the terror inside.
He flipped the knife out and he said, drive, shut the door and drive. And that's what I did. I said, okay, where do you want to go? What's wrong?
The 911 caller on the street tries to keep calm.
I'm so scared.
It's okay. Just calm down, okay?
He was some crazy freaking guy and he had a knife.
He didn't even want me to stop the bus. He wanted me to switch with him while the bus was rolling. And I said, no, we can't do that.
Police in Jacksonville, Arkansas chased the bus for some 12 miles until they stopped it. Those little kids run out one by one, rushing to safety.
So that driver, he said, well, he told her, I doubt he was asking anything, asked her to switch. That way he could drive. She did the right thing. She said, no, I can't do that. I'm going to drive it. Because if he was driving it, guarantee he would have driven way worse than she was. He probably would have crashed it or hit other people. So she did the right thing there. She wasn't using physical aggression towards him, but she was telling him, no, like, this is my bus. I'm not going to let you drive it. I'll stay in control. You just tell me what to do. But something as simple as a knife, luckily there was somebody outside of that bus that observed it before, because that person on that bus would not have let that woman call 911. So she would have been driving around with nobody knowing what was going on, because I doubt those kids had cell phones and were able to call 911. So just always be thinking of that. Always keep your radio close to you if you guys do speak with a dispatch or anything.
Give me your hand.
It happened late Monday afternoon on a bus carrying students home from the Prince George's County Alternative Middle School. A 14-year-old boy, attacked by 3 others, rushed aboard, at a stop.
This was an attempted murder. Plain and simple. Let's call it what it is.
Martin Diggs, head of the bus drivers union, describes a ruthless attack.
Pulled the trigger 3 times, but for some reason, by the grace of God, the gun didn't go off, and bullets flew out of the gun.
Multiple sources confirming the bus's onboard video system recording the whole thing. A point-blank attempt to shoot the middle schooler in the head, and when the gun didn't fire after 3 tries, a physical beating before the attackers ran off. The head of the drivers union wants more security and says the driver and aide thought they were going to be killed.
They're terrified. The one driver doesn't want to come back to work.
So I'm glad that you guys reached out to our agency to give you a presentation on this. About a year ago, when Tony was making this video, I was like, man, is it relevant? And sure enough, go to YouTube and you can type in active shooter or threat on a bus, and they're all over the place. It's sad, it's sickening that it's happened on school buses, but unfortunately that's society today. And so with you guys reaching out to us to do this, I know it's not school buses necessarily for you, that you're not driving them, but it happens everywhere. A few months back here in Wichita, there was an active shooter either on a bus or right beside the bus, one of the public buses up here in Wichita. And my sister-in-law lived about 2 blocks from where it happened, and she heard the gunshots. So it happens. Unfortunately, it happens. But here's another one that's a hijacking. So this would be for any hostage type stuff.
We're all feeling it. Inflation is causing the cost of everything to go up. Groceries, utilities.
Gunman hijacked a bus and forced the driver on a
So there's one that's not a school bus. It's just a big old commercial bus.
About somebody getting on the bus in the afternoon shooting somebody.
The bus smashing into several cop cars along the way with passengers trapped on board. And that is where we begin tonight on Fox 5 News Edge at 11.
So again, we'll skip through that one in case we have any questions. But every child who steps off your bus safely is a testament to your dedication. We want to thank you, even though you guys aren't school bus drivers, you're still doing a public service. Not a lot of people want to do that because people don't like dealing with other people, but we appreciate what you guys do, especially for you guys in the rural communities. I'm from a rural community south of Wichita here. We have public transportation down there. It's great for the people that either can't drive due to injury or illness or anything like that, or just elderly people, anyone that needs it. It's great to see. So I'm glad you guys had reached out to us today. If we have any questions, you guys are welcome to answer them, and we'll ask them. Welcome to ask them, and I'll try to answer them for you. So are there any questions before we get finished up here? And if any of your guys' individual companies want something that's less directed towards the actual bus and more towards a fixed location, like your place of business or your shop that you work out of, let us know. We have a program just like this. It's called KASM, Kansas Active Shooter Mitigation. It's more geared towards a business setting rather than a bus. So we're happy to give that. We have public resource officers in Kansas City, Topeka, Hayes, Garden, Wichita, and then the Chanute area. So if you guys need anything, we're always happy to help you out and come and give a presentation for your companies.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all of that information. And yes, if anybody has any questions, you can unmute yourself or you can utilize the chat feature. This webinar is being recorded again, so it will be available on our YouTube channel later today. But a lot of good information shared here. Seeing some dots going in the chat box, so we'll give everybody a minute to submit their questions. All right. Have a thank you from Dominique. And a thank you from Rick. So I think we are good on questions here. Again, I just want to thank you, Trooper West, for being here today and providing all this information. It's truly valuable. And I'm hopeful that people will go and review this recording after we've posted it, just so that we can help spread the information even more.
Yep. And then last thing, well, actually two last things. This photo here at the beginning that I showed you guys, it's easier when you're in a group and you're not on Zoom, but at the end of it, we will show this and say, what was that woman wearing again? 95% of people have no idea what she looked like, what she was wearing, but how long I showed you that video is probably, well, that photo is probably how long you see somebody get on your bus. You look over, you look at them 2 to 3 seconds, and then you forget about them. But you need to pay attention to the people that are getting on your bus. That way you can describe them if they end up being the problem. So I'm not going to make you guys do it today, but that was what the woman looked like at the beginning. I'd say 95% of people have no idea what she looked like. So just always try to remember who's getting on your bus, what they look like, what they're wearing, if you see anything out of place. But again, that's my cell number and my email. If you guys need any other programs or have any questions related to this, you're welcome to call or text or email, and I'll try to get back with you as soon as possible.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
All right. Just a quick comment from Rick. Said situational awareness. Yes, that is key.
It's key.
All right. Well, thank you all for being here today. And thanks again to Trooper Wes. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.